Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike. Um, this is going to be a review on Mad Cave's Nottingham issues 1 and 2. Um, they're going to be like a brief summary review. Um, Man, what a read. I'm trying to, I get so excited sometimes. This is not scripted, what you get. I record this and then, upload it. Sometimes I do different takes, but normally due to sound options or people knocking on my door, that kind of issue. Um, this is a book that, if you don't know, it is extremely hard to get. I don't understand the rhyme or reason behind it. I have not looked into it per se, but I'm believing it is a distribution problem and a print count. It is just a low print to begin with. Mad Cave is a brand, a recent indie comic company. I do have other Mad Cave, comics. I'm reading Beckstar. I'm stacking them currently. Um, for some reason, my main LCS, which does get a good variety of independence, a lot, I did not have the problem with the Bad Idea comics. A lot of these independents, like Source, Source Press, my LCS gets a wide variety, and if not, I have another backup. Because I'm fortunate here in Houston, where we do have multiple LCSs within my home radius. So, with that being said, I was unable to get Nottingham when it dropped. I mean, I think we're almost at the 5th issue right now. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 is out, and they have done numerous printings. This right here is the 5th printing, so they have already dropped like 5 different, releases, and I still, and these two copies right here I bought from an LCS, the vendor that worked there, and she was kind enough to pull this out of her box because she did read it and she loved it, but at the same time she knew I wanted to review it and wanted to read it myself. um, Shannon at DNA Comics, man, she rocks. I know she doesn't even watch my channel. If she ever does, man, I love her to death. She has helped me out like 3 or 4 times. Okay, so enough of my rambling. But Nottingham in a nutshell is a retelling of Robin Hood. And what a great retelling of Robin Hood. It is, it's been titled as a horror book. It's not horror, but it does have scary themes to it, violence, in a nutshell, it's actually like a murder mystery, and I was misled about this comic. I believe that was like the sheriff of Nottingham in this mask, and that was one of the reasons I was kind of drawn into it, was this mask, the look of it. I was like, yeah, I kind of dig that. They do show like right here, like, the mask and the red, and that it is the opposite. That is the merry man. Robin Hood and his gang wear those masks, and it's part of their ritual of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. They just wear the mask, and it's more of like a scary fear element that they add to the stealing from the rich. In this version, it's a little more different. It has the whole setup, about King Richard, and it's basically the same thing, where England at this time is suffering due to high taxes, and the king has set forth, and there are tax collectors, and but that's it. I mean, if you know Robin Hood's story, that's basically it. These thieves are trying to give back to the poor because everybody's suffering during this time in England. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is during the Holy War, and it is like right before the verge of the Black Plague. So it wasn't the funnest times in the world's history, but it is a little different. I mean, as you can see right here, with the and I'm hoping my camera will focus on that, but with the horse and and it goes into detail about, like, how vicious the attacks are on these rich. And it's basically, it reminds me a lot of a Batman detective story, because it really follows this Sheriff Blackthorne, and not the sheriff of Nottingham like we are all accustomed to. but he is tasked with finding these murderers, basically, because that's what they're doing. And I mean, right off the bat, this one scene sets him off this murder mystery. It was the Lord that was slain, and right here off this one scene, there's a lot of different mystery and things that aren't in place correctly. Um, he notices things that, like for instance, why would a Lord be driving himself? The fact that there's like, he does catch some hair and stuff like that, and it leads him to Maid Marian. And she is at the castle at Nottingham, and he ends up interviewing him, and basically the first story is him like interviewing different suspects into this murder, getting different clues, leading down different paths. We do see behind the scenes that Maid Marian, of course, is working with Robin Hood and his gang. But, I mean, the sheriff at the time does not know that. They do go into various different backstories with Blackthorn, but it's more in the second issue. In the first issue, he is led to believe, after finding some evidence on the victim, that it was a red-haired individual, and that's why he tracks down Maid Marian, because she is red-haired herself. He does find out that it is actually Will Scarlet, one of Robin Hood's men, and shown here, Blackthorn is pretty badass, and I mean, he was a knight that was directly under King Richard during the Holy Wars. So of course he is able to, subdue Will Scarlet and take him back to the castle. Basically, this is kind of where the whole like secret, kind of spy thing with Maid Marian and Robin Hood comes into play. I don't even know if we necessarily see Robin Hood. I want to say it is this guy right here with this specific mask. I love that mask. Because we do see some other things. We do see that at the end of this comic, that this, I want to assume that that's Robin Hood, but he sneaks into the castle and he does kill Will Scarlet to make sure that Will Scarlet doesn't tell him, tell the sheriff any details about the Merry Men. That is issue 1. So then we go into issue 2. Like I said, that was the 5th printing. This is the 3rd printing of this, and like I said, this is PC. I don't care. As far as I know right now, the higher the prints, the more expensive it is. So, we go into a lot of the backstory with the Holy War as far as Blackthorn is concerned, how he's established as far as this, hand-to-hand combatant, what he went through. He kind of tells the story about the hells he's seen, because when he walks into the interrogation room and finds Will Scarlet, he gets a question, have you seen anything like this? And he's like, yeah, bro, I went through the Holy War. Like, there was at one moment where the king was like, everybody dies, and he was like, we didn't stop to think about women, children, and men. It was just everybody dies, and that was the order given. So he's seen some stuff during his war days. Back to the investigation, new clues from this new murder scene that is now encountered. He is going through the castle guards because now he believes it is, that someone specifically in the castle helped this assassin get in. So basically it's him tracking down, one lead to another lead to another lead, listening to each suspect, and just really well done. The pacing is phenomenal, and I'm going to get into that. But basically we do find out during these investigations, and during the investigations it's Blackthorn and Lieutenant Allen here that are investigating 3 different soldiers, a tower guard, and basically they all kind of paint this picture that this assassin like crept through and basically either snuck up, subdued them, took, snuck behind them, grabbed their keys, something like that, and was either able to, keep doing his assassin thing and without getting caught. It is shown here, like versions right here, and you'll see this right where my finger is and some other panels that, like how Robin Hood's depicted, and it's more like a demon fashion because it's the guy explaining how he saw the Hood, and that's kind of how they call him. They just call him the Hood. We do find out during the last investigation that it, after clue to clue to clue, that sure enough it was Alan that was the betrayal, the one that was, with Blackthorn during the investigations. So it leads to an all-out, like, Alan trying to escape. Blackthorn instantly locks down the castle, knows where he's going, gets there, and it basically has a real, you know, fist to fist. Like, I mean, we're talking about swords before guns type of situation. So, I mean, they don't use swords, but they do go fisticuffs. And Blackthorn does not make it through. Alan manages to get a nice, good sucker punch in there. And as we see, you know, Alan is on his way out the doors with Blackthorn kind of knocked out on the ground. And that is the end of the second issue. Now, was this comic, you know, it is a pricey book, especially if you're trying to get the first print or second print. It's kind of ridiculous. Is it worth it? Hell yeah. This was an amazing read. The art is phenomenal. The writing is superiorly superb. It is just an amazing, fantastic retelling of a simple story. And you want to talk about spec? I can't wait till they make this into a show or a movie. In the right hands, this could be some of the coolest horror we could ever see, because it can really be done in a scary way. It doesn't have to be horror. It can be done in a cool, like, medieval detective stuff. I mean, how many cool medieval detective shows do you know of? None that I can think of. And I watch a lot of TV and I watch a lot of movies. But yeah, that's my review on Nottingham by Mad Cave. Man, what a read. I mean, if you have read this, and let me know what you thought. Maybe I'm just crazy and I just really got off on the Robin Hood retelling. But that's basically my review. I got a couple more coming. Thank y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Evil out.